Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving if you celebrate it, and if you don't, well, I hope you had a good past couple of days. But it is now time to get back into checking out the really cool mods that have come out in the past week for Fallout 4. Yes, it is of course time again for another Fallout 4 Mods Weekly, and this week we've got a cool variety of mods, including some brand new weapons, some weapon attachments, some new power armors, and even a huge expansive quest mod with a whole lot of goodies. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in with the first mod. And that first mod is going to be a pretty interesting one. This is going to be a new modification mod that actually adds on to the walking cane from the vanilla game. Yeah, if you didn't know, there actually is a walking cane weapon that you can use in Fallout 4, and now there's a mod that will add a sword to the attachment options. This mod is now known as the Walking Cane Sword Modification Add-on by Micalov. If you've never seen a cane sword before, it is a sort of hidden weapon that allows you to hide a blade inside of a cane, and this is going to add that functionality into Fallout 4. Originally, when this mod came out, it was just a replacer for the walking cane to make it into a cane blade, so that it actually made it a bit more functional as a weapon, but it has since been updated to make this an attachment option, which personally is my preference. You can still find the walking cane in its standard variety, but then you can upgrade it at a weapons workbench to unlock the cane blade and even an electrified version of the cane blade. This, of course, is going to greatly increase the damage of the cane by default, since it is going to be a now functional weapon compared to just a piece of wood. Additionally, since this is now just a modification, this keeps the other modifications for the cane intact, including the barbed wire and the nails, so you can really customize this thing to your liking, whether you want a bladed weapon or a blunt weapon, so I think that's pretty cool. The cane in the vanilla game was always a bit of a goofy addition to the game in my opinion, but it's something that totally made sense for Fallout. I mean, we had rolling pins for Christ's sake. So having a cane is pretty neat, but now we have a way to upgrade it and make it even more functional. Something you know I'm a big fan of considering my massive attachment pack mod. I love seeing these little additions that make vanilla weapons even more usable. There's not much more to it, this just adds a couple of attachments to the walking cane, but they are some pretty cool ones and ones I wanted to shed a little bit of light on. Now for our next mod, we have a whole brand new standalone weapon, and that is the Nailer Mark II by Timmy76. This is going to be a beautiful recreation of the nail gun from the Fallout New Vegas Lonesome Road DLC, and this thing is awesome. Now you may remember we did check this out a while ago while it was still in a little closed beta, but it has since been updated with a bunch of new attachments and cool new features that make this a perfect, complete weapon mod that you can download right now. Now, in case you're not familiar with this weapon, this is a proper nail gun, something intended for construction purposes, but you can use now as a weapon, and you can even customize it at the weapons workbench and add a bunch of cool attachments to this thing. This is going to use a newly added ammo type that allows you to shoot nails, and you can, of course, find this thing out on the leveled lists. This thing actually starts spawning surprisingly late in the game after level 25, and it'll start spawning on raiders and raider bosses. You can find the nail ammo after level 15 in toolboxes and other containers, and you can even craft the ammo over at the chemistry station. Of course, all of these new items, both the weapon and the ammos, can be purchased over at any weapon vendor, and this even comes with a brand new ammo mesh, which is just a nice little neat feature. Now, in case you want to find one of these weapons and you don't want to have to waste your time looking through the leveled list, there is actually a static spawn over at the Natick substation, west of the Natick police station. Now, elephant in the room, this does have some custom animations, but they are going to require another mod. So if you want to download this, you're also going to need to download the Grease Gun mod by Deadpool 2099, as this uses all of the animations from that mod. Now, personally, I think this is just fine, as those animations are very fitting and allow this weapon to actually be functional. And plus, if you're running a lore-friendly load order, it's probable that you already have the Grease Gun anyways. It's just a minor little requirement, but you get a wonderful, new, unique weapon that's very, very cool in the game. Functionally, this thing has a very low damage, but a super high fire rate, so slinging out these nails at a really high speed is definitely very viable in combat, and I've had a lot of fun using this thing. And for our next mod, we're checking out a brand new power armor, and that is the SE01 power armor by Neeher. That's right, the author behind so many wonderful weapon mods, animation mods, and other mod staples has now tried their hand at power armor, and let me just say it was worth it. This armor is absolutely incredible. It's going to feature a ton of customization in the way of skins. There are a ton of different metal colors, just like you would expect from Neeher's other weapon mods. All of those same textures have now been applied to power armor as as well. So you can have different shades of metal, gold, copper, and even a pretty wacky wood furniture, which I think looks absolutely insane, but still really, really cool. Much like Neeher's weapon mods, this armor can be found in a pretty similar fashion. There's a newly added location just to the northwest of Nahant's Sheriff Department. From there, you'll find a basement entrance. Enter the newly added location, and you will quickly find a new terminal. Open up that terminal and you can open up a set of doors, proceed into the room, and you'll find the power armor. But first, head to the left of the doors you just opened and pick up the helmet. Much like Neeher's other mods, this has a cool little animation that plays as you pick up the helmet that just shows you inspecting it and adding it to your inventory. Once that's done playing, head over to the armor and you're going to initiate another animation where you actually check out the armor and place the helmet on top of it. Once the animation is done, you can head into the armor and it is now yours, and I'd highly recommend taking this thing over to a power armor station so you can check out all of the cool new customization options. Neeher says in the mod description that this was intended to be a design that would fit perfectly in the lore of Fallout, and I have to say I think they did an excellent job. This is a very lore-friendly design, something that looks like it belongs right in Fallout, something that could have been a part of the vanilla game, and I have to say I'm absolutely in love with this power armor. I'm not a huge power armor user in the first place, but I do like the design of this one quite a lot, and it's something I could definitely see keeping at my settlement as a sort of trophy. So if you're a power armor user, I highly recommend checking this one out. It adds a cool new location to pick up a new set of power armor, and this power armor is pretty snazzy looking itself. Now the next mod we're checking out is a brand new animation mod known as the 10mm Anims by CADAVVER. Now this is going to do actually a couple of things. Not only is it going to add new animations to the 10mm pistol, but it's also going to resize it. There are some pretty popular resizing mods for the 10mm already, but this one's going to be twofold. You're going to get new animations and a resize, so that's pretty cool. And it's going to shrink down the 10mm quite a bit. As you may see on screen already, this thing is rather tiny now, actually the size of a pretty standard pistol. On top of that, this thing has a full suite of custom animations for not only unequipping but also equipping, reloading, melee bashing, grenade throwing, and sprinting. On top of all of that, this mod of course rescales all of the attachments to fit on this weapon as well. So you can add on the long heavy barrels or the suppressor and everything's going to work just perfectly. Now, it's important to note that since this mod does resize the 10mm, anything that's going to add attachments to the 10mm, like say attachments for my attachment pack, are not going to work. So whenever I'm playing with this, when I have the attachment pack enabled, this scale is just all wrong. However, the current version of this mod that is up does have a couple of built-in patches for things like see-through scopes, West-Tech optics, and even a non-tactical reload patch. So all of these new attachments are going to be rescaled properly automatically with this mod. And as for the non-tactical reload patch, this mod actually does technically require tactical reload, so it will work if you have tactical reload installed, but it is built in to make it so that if you don't have tactical reload, you don't need to download a separate patch. It just works whether you have it or don't have it, so that's pretty cool. Altogether, this makes for an excellent new animation mod for the 10mm and a nice little resize if you're looking to scale this thing down a bit. Now for our next mod, we have a pretty interesting mod because I'd like to call this a weapon, but it's kind of not. This is known as Pig's Viking Shield by Pig. This is going to add a shield to the game that you can actually equip to your character as a weapon. It functions like an unarmed weapon and you can hit people with it, though it is still a shield, so it's really hard to determine what exactly this thing is. Functionally though, it's a weapon. You can upgrade it at the weapons workbench, add a ton of new skins including different designs for the shield, as well as a couple of damage upgrades, including a heavy upgrade which has no visual effects whatsoever, but also an upgrade that adds a bunch of little metal nuts and bolts that make this thing do a good bit more damage. Now if you want to get your hands on this weapon, it is not added to any leveled list. Instead, it's one of a kind and you're going to have to go find it over at Hubris Comics on the top floor where you would find the Grognak costume. Given the unique design of the shield, I think that's a perfectly fine way to integrate this weapon into the game, considering not many raiders are going to be running around with old style shields like this. Maybe some scrappy ones would be cool in a future mod, but for now, this is just going to be a regular old Viking shield that you can use on your character, and it's pretty dang cool. And finally, we need to talk about the biggest release of the last week, and that is A Taste of the Blues by Zanthir. This is going to be a huge, expansive mod that adds a new quest and a new location, and a ton of new items, all from the Old World Blues DLC. Now, the new location that you get to can only be accessed by finding a transportal ponder, just like it was in Old World Blues, and once you have that, you can go in and out of this new location at a whim. Inside the new location, there is a new quest that will require you to go and explore the newly added dungeon to find a bunch of cool new items and armors, fight some new enemies, and all the while pick up some keys to unlock the final treasure room so you can get all of the really cool loot, as well as get some new transportal ponders that allow you to not only travel to new locations, but also different times. There is an absolutely massive amount of content available in this mod, too much to go over in just a little 2-minute segment, so I'd highly recommend checking out my full playthrough of this, which is currently up on the channel. It was a whole lot of fun, and if you want to see my first reactions to this amazing mod, you can go ahead and do so. I'll leave it linked down in the description below. But for those of you who don't have time to digest a full 40-minute playthrough, let's go over this really quick. Like I said, it does have a new quest and dungeon. That stuff is pretty self-explanatory, but there are 14 brand new weapons, some faithfully recreated weapons like the Cyber Dog gun and the Sonic emitter, as well as some cool brand new weapons that weren't even in New Vegas, like the Proton throwing knife. Additionally, there are 6 new clothing items, 7 new aid items, 32 new workshop items, as well as over 40 total miscellaneous items and recipes for you to explore and find throughout the dungeon. By far, one of my favorite parts of this mod was the integrated mechanics from Old World Blues, being able to blast open shield doors from the Sonic emitter, as well as find all of these cool new weapons. It's a whole lot of fun, the enemies are fun to fight, and altogether, this is just a really cool new place to explore, and something that's a lot of fun to add to a lore-friendly load order. If you'd like a huge nostalgia trip, if you want to go and experience all the Old World Blues stuff, it's definitely worth picking up this mod, as it's a ton of fun. But don't let me tell you about it, go ahead and try this mod out for yourself, because it's available for not only PC, but Xbox as well. I think that covers most of the big things. Like I said, if you want every single detail, go ahead and check out the full playthrough, but even then I didn't cover everything. As Zanthir was quick to point out, I missed quite a few items because this mod is just jam-packed full of stuff. It's definitely easy to gloss over everything, so be sure to take your time and look around, as there's a lot of goodies hidden away within this mod. With that though, I think we're going ahead and wrap things up. There's a lot of awesome mods this week. Be sure to go ahead and check them all out. They'll be linked down in the description below, along with Xbox links if there are any available. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found at least one new mod to throw into your load order. I know I did. Be sure to let me know if you enjoyed the video down in the comments, drop a rating, it really helps out the channel, and consider subscribing if you haven't already for more videos just like this. Big shout out to all my wonderful patrons for supporting every single video, and of course a very special thank you to Captain Chaos, Helljumper, Indecisive Wolf, Jackie Noyd, John Moreland, Cushy, Logan Rigmated, Microhan, Moonlit Gamer, Official Zfexer, Feed, Timmy76, Youth RC, and Voider for joining that Tier 3 Patreon membership. If you'd like to support the channel over on Patreon, you can do so using the link down in the description below, but it is completely optional. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope to see you on the next one. Peace!